what I we'll get into some specifics of what we're looking for, but I think the biggest thing I'm hoping to see is something that you mentioned yesterday, and I think it's a great point. I think it bears repeating. You mentioned that a big difference in just kind of the optics of the Kings Raptors game was that the Raptors had very clearly played a game and the Kings had not.
Yes.
The Kings looked sluggish. They looked very much like they were knocking rust off. I think that's the big picture thing I'm looking for. Like I said, we'll get down to kind of the minutia of it, but I'm looking for, okay, if that's going to be something that we took into account for that game, then just on overall, they just need to look more sharp.
Yeah, and look, I think there are reasons why you don't look right when you're playing your first game, and it's something that I think gets missed. So the Raptors played like the Kings; they'd had five days of practice before they played on Monday, right? And in those 5 days of practice, what you're doing most of the time when you go to 5v5, when you're doing scrimmages, is you have 4 groups of 5. So whether you're playing on 2 courts or you're playing on 1 court and you're switching in different groups of 5, very rarely in the first 5 days at camp are you mixing and matching those 5s. So what I mean is that you can switch 5s, right? Groups of 5s. All of a sudden, it's not DeMar DeRozan, it's Nick Clifford with the starters, right? But that's not what we're talking about here. What I'm talking about is you're not playing 2 groups of 10 and then subbing in guys. So what that means is in game 1, when you go to a specific, we saw the 3-guard set, right? We saw it was Malik Monk, Dennis Schroeder, and Keon Ellis playing, I believe, with Isaac Jones and Drew Eubanks. That group of 5 has probably never once been on the floor together at all, because that's not how they work in the first couple of days of training camp. You're in your group of 5 and you do all your drills together and you're trying to build chemistry within that group of 5. You don't sub in players and start playing with different groups. And so I think that that's something that we saw in game 1 of preseason where, Doug Christie, when he started making subs, a lot of times it was okay, I need to get, he put in 3 guys, but then very quickly he got up to 4 and 5. And it was the 5-man group. But the first couple of minutes when you're dealing with a group that hasn't played together is you're going to have wonkiness. You're going to have their rotations are going to be different. Sometimes you're going to get a double team on something where you're like, hey man, what are you doing? It's well, that's my job with my group of 5,
right?
But it's not your job with that group of 5. And so there are all these nuances. So I hope that when we get to game 2, we actually see something different. We see them start to look a little more cohesive and not very much so that they've never played with that guy before. What are we doing here? This is weird.
Yeah, and I understand the idea of there's going to be a learning curve. They're trying to unlearn this and that.
Yeah.
But it also has to be a little better. They have a full game of tape to look at.
Yeah, they have to be better.
Yeah, and that's why if they come out and they look, if it looks exactly the same, just overall, I'm not, we'll talk about, like I said, the very specifics of what we want to see from certain players and stuff, but it can't look like it did the other night, whether they make more shots or not. It just I called it disjointed. It can't look like that again. Because if it does, I'm running out of reasons to be like, oh, well, it's guys playing together for the first time. Well, it's their first game. Oh, they're playing a team that's played already. At some point, that kind of stuff just goes out the window, and you just have to face the fact of, hey, they didn't get any better. That didn't look any different.
Yeah, it goes from being a reason to being an excuse.
Yeah.
Right. So in game 1, it's a reason. The reason why they look disjointed is because they hadn't played against a different team and they hadn't played these groups of players together at different times. Once you get past game 1, it's all right, you got to start building. Now, look, if they don't look great tonight again, they are still trying to put in a bunch of stuff. They still have another 13 days until game 1 of the regular season. They've got time to figure out some of these kinks. But there's always the possibility, what we kind of envisioned this entire time, that they're going to have problems fitting this group together because of just the overall fit of the team and the group. And so you're trying to fight through some of that stuff. And that's where you're hoping that individuals step up and figure out how to play within the group. But that again, it might not be something that is fixable down the road.
No doubt.
There could come a point where you get to game 8 of the regular season, you're like, okay, this group cannot play together, and we've got to do something different. And this idea that we have that we're going to pick up 94 feet, that's not working,
right?
Because guys aren't listening and guys aren't, doing it consistently. Like when you have expectations of having 85% of the plays be somebody's picking up 94 feet and you get 30% in game 1, that's not like a little bit of an off, like you got to tweak something. That is oh my gosh, they're not listening and they have to do something different.
Yeah.
Like, not that he needs to scrap that idea, but you need to say, hey man, call a timeout or pull a guy, sit him next to you and say, I have to have you pick up 94 feet. And then while you're doing that, before you pull the guy, you pull his replacement and you say, he's not picking up 94 feet. I need you to do what I'm asking right now.
Right.
Right. And then you put him in the game, you pull the other guy out and you say, hey, this is why you're standing next to me. You're going to go right back in the game. You have got to do what I'm asking.
Especially just on the picking up 94 feet thing, especially Dennis Schroeder specifically.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the reasons they brought him in, is because he is a pesky defender in that way.
Yeah.
And is capable of doing that. And if he's not going to do that, then what are we doing here? Because I don't think he's going to look as bad offensively as he did the other night. I think Dennis Schroeder is a better player than that. But he's not going to be a big-time offensive contributor night in and night out.
Yeah. Well, that, and even like one play that stands out to me so clear is that Keegan Murray caught the ball near the corner, but not in the corner. And he could have set up for a 3. And the Kings want him shooting that 3.
Yeah.
But he had a guy sort of on him. And he caught the ball and made a super quick pass right to Schroeder, who was not ready at all, caught the ball, looked at the basket, and then like, oh, I should probably shoot this 3. Shoots a 3 and it's way off. Like, that can't be what happens here.
Nope.
Like, and if you're going to play a system that's read and react, but also like get the best shot, like ball movement, be a good teammate, all that stuff, then that's a shot that Dennis Schroeder not only has to take, but he has to be ready to take, and he's got to hit it. And that's, again, chemistry between players, chemistry between a group of players, because he's probably looking at Keegan like, man, you have got to shoot that. You're a better 3-point shooter than me. He's like, yeah, but I got a guy on me. You're wide open right next to me. I made the smart right play and got you a wide open look. I need you to hit that.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
I don't want Keegan to do that.
To move the ball?
Moving the ball is fine, but Keegan's semi-contested 3, I will take that over Dennis Schroeder shooting a 3.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I understand what he's doing. I'm not saying it's fundamentally in a vacuum the wrong play, but when we talk about Keegan shooting more and getting more shots up, that's the exact kind of thing where it's like, man, just shoot that.
No, I'm with you, but I also I'm of the opinion that when you're on a basketball court, you should make the right play. And I know we can argue whether the right play is for him to shoot the ball.
I think it is in that instance.
And it might be, but it's also early in preseason. One of the ideas you should have is to make your teammates better and to get everybody involved. And Dennis Schroeder had not been getting shots. Here you go. Here's one. Hit the shot. And I think as we get deeper into the season, Keegan's going to realize very quickly that it is he's the better option.
Yeah, if the one person I want to see, and again, if there's somebody in his jersey, yeah, then don't try and get a shot.
Yeah.
Up. But if you have time to get your shot up, the only person I want him swinging it to instead is either somebody wide open under the basket or Zach LaVine.
Yep.
Other than that, like, Keegan's on the floor to shoot that 3.
No, I agree. Even if he would have pump faked the ball to Schroeder and drawn the guy closer that way,
totally,
and then taken the shot, I would have felt better about it.
Yeah.
But still, those are the things where you're learning your teammates and being respectful. Like, if you have a wide open point guard, an NBA point guard sitting right to your right, who's wide open, and you got a man running at you, the right play is probably to move the ball to him, but you've got to hit the shot. So I don't have any problems with how they handle it, but that's one of those things where I do think that over time you're going to learn that no. The best shot, Keegan, is for you to take it. It doesn't matter if you've got a man running at you or not. The best shot is for you to take that shot.
So we walk backwards into the first thing I'm looking for tonight from the Kings. I thought Keegan, for the most part, was pretty aggressive the other night. More so than I think I was anticipating. And I would like to see him keep that up for sure. I would like to see him maybe take that 3 you're talking about. But the other side of that is I also kind of need to see some shots go down.
Yeah.
Like the make or miss obviously is the point of the game. Making the shot is better than missing it. But Keegan shooting a bunch in the preseason and shooting 38% from the field and 25% from three isn't good. Like that doesn't like, hey, at least he shot it a bunch. I guess at some point the percentages matter for me specifically with Keegan, because we've seen that 3-point percentage dip every year since his rookie season. And I need to see some sign that it's gonna come around and that it's gonna come back. And I think it will, but I can't say, hey, yeah, awesome, Keegan, you were super aggressive. You went 3 for 11 from the field and 0 of 6 from 3.
Yeah, what he can't be is a guy in Major League Baseball that always has a horrible first month of the season, regardless of where he's playing. The guy who bats 175 for the first 30 games of the season or first 22 games of the season. You're like, come on, man, come around. He's got 1 home run, finishes with 35, and you're like, bro. Yeah. Like, seriously, like, show up and be ready. And that's where it's kind of like with Keegan, it's like, we can't wait for you to figure out your 3-point shot until game 8 or game 12 or game 15. That's not going to work. And if that's what it's going to be, by the time we get to that point in the season, we've already kind of moved on from who you are and what you are as an offensive player. Right. Yeah. Like, we've got to do what's best for the team. If you can't shoot it, then, and you can't hit the shot, then we've got to move on.
I think you and I are on the same page in terms of Keegan having more upside. I think we differ a little bit on what exactly the ceiling is at this point. But I think no matter which way you slice it, it all starts with the 3-point shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Like creating more off the dribble and being more aggressive, getting downhill. Like, that's all great. But it doesn't matter if he's shooting 34% from 3.
No,
it just that has to be a major part of his game, and doing so at a higher volume and doing so more successfully than he has the last 2 years.
Yeah, a minimum is 38% for him. That's where the minimum that he has to be. Even the 36% that he averaged 2 years ago, that wasn't good enough. Not when you shot 41% as a rookie. Yeah, not on this roster. Like, A, when you shot 41% as a rookie, but B, we talk about that 3-point issue for the Kings and just the math of, if you're giving up 36 on one end at the 3-point line and you're scoring 27, no, wait, that was wrong. Yeah, 27. You're losing by 9 on the 3-point line every night. That's just like a disadvantage, right? Well, game 1, you gave up 60 from behind the arc and you scored 30. Yeah, that's just you can't lose by 30 points on the 3-point shooting. Yeah, and win consistently, no chance. No. But so the Kings combating that is A, going to come down to defense, but B, Keegan is such a major part of that. No, totally. And so I would like to see the aggressiveness, but I also need to see some more shots go down. We've got a ton more to dive into with the Kings preseason game tonight against the Blazers.